Hi everybody, welcome to Backburner. I'm Chef Paul, Food Service Director at Colorado Academy with Sodexo. Coming up, we've got our Stir Fry Zoom recording from Friday, April 3rd, and next week, Friday, April 10th, tune in to us live for Taco Night. See you then. Welcome to Backburner. I'm Chef Paul, and we have a bit of an echo we'll take care of in a minute. I want to ask everybody to mute their lines. Why don't you run over? Let me see if I can. There we go. All right, we got it. Welcome to Backburner. This is our second edition. We had 94 families last week join us for the pasta night, and we thought tonight would be a good idea to just keep this idea going. So I hope everybody got their shopping done. We put out the shopping list on Monday, so that was helpful because you got it at Wednesday last week, and it was a little iffy. Tonight with stir fry is going to be go ahead and cut up whatever you've got, but I'll show you what I have tonight. I want to thank Hunter behind the camera. My son helps me do these videos. I want to encourage everybody again this week, don't get frustrated. If you can't keep up, don't try and rush, because number one thing today is safety, and we want to keep your fingers from being cut and have any problems with cross-contamination, and we'll talk about all those kinds of things as we go. Hopefully we won't go too long, and I want you guys to think about cooking is a life skill, so there's no rush to get perfect or exact or be too fast or too slow. I've been doing this for 34 years, so it's just kind of, I want you to have fun, okay? So again, I was thinking about what could I do for my community and what could I do for my CA families, and we came to kind of think about doing a live Zoom dinner. So here we are. We also have some videos we posted on the CA YouTube channel under a Backburner playlist, and we have how to cut an onion, how to cut a carrot, how to cut a pepper, and we just dropped in how to bake bread in a cast iron skillet. So you can check those out. Something we also do at my house every night to help with the quarantine stress is that we have dinner every night at 6:30. So everybody can put their devices down, everybody can come in from the run or working in the yard or doing what everybody does, and we can kind of sit down and group together on how our day's going. All right, so from now on until we're all back together, we're gonna have Friday night dinner. So I'll send out a ingredients list to CA, and they'll send it out in Monday's communication for Friday night dinner, all right? So let's get started. My hands are washed. All my produce has already been washed just to save you some time. And the first thing we're going to do is work on get the rice started. Last week, first thing we did was we got the pasta started. So we want to make sure, as always, our hands are clean, our boards are nice and clean and sanitized. Our knives are sharp and not dull. And let's head over here and we'll measure some rice. My favorite rice to eat at home is this Calrose Baton rice. I couldn't find any more of this, so I bought some jasmine brown rice, and that was really great this week. And if you don't have any rice, I found plenty of rice sticks in the grocery store. So there's 4 of us, sometimes 5 of us for dinner. And so the directions are 1.5 cups of rice. So this is where you get into personal preference. I do not wash my sticky rice because I like it sticky. So I've got my rice right here. So I've got 1.5 cups of rice. And this is again where I do it a little differently. The directions, I put in 3 cups of water because I'm living in a Mile High. So I don't rinse it. That's different. And I use a 2-to-1 ratio on the rice. So now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to crank this up so that it gets going. And hopefully I won't boil it over. I'm going to leave it uncovered till I get started, and then I'm going to cover it. So then we're going to come back to the board. Now, when you're doing vegetables and chicken, you want to be really careful to not cross-contaminate. You want to keep your chicken separate from all your vegetables and clean cutting board. So I have a separate cutting board for that. But for stir fry, in the shopping list, you can use chicken, fish, steak, tofu, no protein. It's all up to you. So I've got my chicken cutting board right here. And I did do a little bit ahead of time. I've got my chicken right here. I have diced quite a bit ahead of time, but I wanted to share with you guys. This is a safety cut glove. Now, if I'm at work, this is how we do it. We put on a safety glove, then I put a plastic glove over that for knife safety. But since I'm at home and it's just us, the 4 of us tonight, and it's not a public professional kind of situation, I am going to use this glove, and then I'll have to wash my hands afterwards. I'm going to use a different knife. So I've already cleaned these chicken breasts. These have been thawed out. This is the rib part, and then this is the outside part of the chicken. And I'm doing fairly large dice. We have a dog, just like many of you. So I'm going to dice that right here. There is just a couple chicken breasts for me to cut up. All right, so that's diced. So you saw how I did that. I'm going to remove the glove, toss it in the trash, and I'm going to carefully walk over here with my knife. I'm going to put that in the sink for later. And I'm going to put the cutting board in the sink for later. And I am going to wash my hands. Got this up here. I'm going to peek in on the computer and see who's cooking along with us. I can see some of you guys. This is what you wanted to tune in and see, hand washing. All right. Like I said, I'll come back later and I will clean this board really well and sanitize it, and same with my knife, okay? So we're gonna come back to the rice really quick. I can feel that getting hot. You can see it's starting to get a little cloudy in there. I got it cranked up, so once it starts going, I'm gonna have to back it off really quick. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about when you're making like a stir fry, the 3 most important ingredients you can get together are the garlic, the ginger, and the scallion. And this is called, if you guys can go ahead and mute, I can hear Dad. I'm going to show you guys how to cut each one of these ingredients. So we're going to start with our scallions. Remember, these are already all washed.
What's that?
Cut right there. Got a little trash bin right here for my scraps. I can smell it. It's starting to move a little bit. So
You cut them.
I want this to keep at a constant. So I'm going to turn it down to about 2, and I'm going to cover it up. Back to our scallions. And remember, we're keeping our fingers back. or my thumb is not out and I've got everything tucked, I'm going to use this part of my knuckle to direct my knife. I'm going to cut these as thin as I can. And yes, they will kind of fly around, and that's all right. I can hear some of you in your kitchen, so if you could just make sure that you're muted. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to save those for later. I've got my scallions all done. I'm going to keep everything I chop up separate for now. I like to keep it up. They all cook at different times. That's how we cut a scallion. Now, this is ginger root. Now, we're not going to use this much, but I am going to save that for me later. The ginger root is super important in this dish. I'm going to square this off so it'll stand up. I'm going to save those two pieces. Now, here's a little bit of a kitchen trick. Instead of using a knife, you can use a spoon and scrape off that membrane, the skin. It will jump in your face a little bit. Now, it's not straight. Sometimes you saw that was a very crooked root. So I am going to use my knife for the rest of it, but oftentimes we use a little bit of a kitchen trick. I'm going to stand this up. All right. Move this aside into my trash. I'm going to grab a paper towel really quick. You want to keep your board nice and clean so that you don't get everything all mixed up. So we've got a little towel here. All right, so now I've got my ginger root, and it's in a nice rectangle shape. What we're going to do is keeping my fingers back. Remember, last week we covered you want to use this part of the knife to do your cutting. You don't want to be up here, and you don't want to be too far back. Now it's about to get a little too narrow. So instead of holding it like this and trying to cut a couple more, I'm just going to lay it down on its side. Okay? And if you're cutting at home with us, you can smell how good that is. Nice, strong ginger flavor. Okay, so we want to mince this. So I am going to cut these as thin as I can, all the way across. All right, so now I've got these little like baton shapes, we call them. All right, I'm going to take little groups of these, square them up, and this is how I'm going to get my dice, or my fine dice, or my minced. I'll show you what we do when we mince. We're going to small dice this ginger, and we'll mince the garlic, and you'll see the difference. If one of these sticks jumps out of line, don't reach with your finger to try and rescue it. All right, one more time. All right. So we're just going to leave this the way it is. And just reach over here. I've got my container for my ginger. Be very careful with the knife in your hands. And when I cut the scallions, my knife was relatively clean afterwards. Now, with the ginger, there is quite a bit of sticky ginger root on there. So I am going to rinse this off. I'm pushing away from the top to the bottom. All right, and I've got the towel right here. All right, so now we have our ginger, our scallion, and here is our garlic. So remember last week we had a bulb of garlic and we cracked it open and it wasn't the best garlic, to tell you the truth. So one of the teachers this week asked me, you should do a video on garlic. So Mr. Mike, this is for you. And we're going to probably do 4. All right, so I'm going to put this over here because I'm going to go through all these scraps later. Now, if you had 8 people at home, you might want more garlic than this. So the way I do it is I cut that off, and I'll come back to that. This is kind of the part of the garlic where it all connects to the root. All right, so I've got all those cut off. Now I'm going to smash them. I'm going to be really careful not to have the blade of my knife pointing up at all. And I'm going to push down like that. All right, so now it pops out relatively easy. See there? If you try and peel them first without smashing them, it kind of takes forever, I've found. And you can see how the garlic is a very sticky root. All right. I want to keep my board clean and I don't want any of these peels chopped up accidentally. So I use a nice little paper towel. All right, so now I've got my garlic and we kind of diced the ginger systematically. The garlic, we're just going to smash up together and do more of a mince. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to go straight across all the garlic that I've just peeled. You can also purchase your garlic that's already minced up. Sometimes they pack them in water, and that can get a little, if your oil's really hot, it'll spit at you. This is sticking to my hand. All right, here we go. And I coax all this garlic back into the line. And then I take all that garlic. I know we've got a lot of CA families in the class today, and I also invited a couple of my chef buddies, one in Australia, one in England, another one in Jamaica. I don't know if they're on, but they'll probably give me a hard time about something. I'm reminded about my rice, so I want to go over and check that. I can smell the rice going. I just want to peek in. All right, I got a nice little roll there. And I want to mess with the hot spots. All right, that's good. I am going to put my garlic in this little container here. So hello to my chef buddies across the great seas. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, the garlic is very sticky, so I'm going to wash it. Now, when I'm working professionally, I would definitely take time to wash my hands properly each time I'm at home. And this water is extremely hot. I got my water heater turned up all the way. All right. Next thing we're going to go over is the onion, like we did last time. Onion grows out of the ground like this. We're going to cut the root at the base, spin it around, cut that off. Now, I like to use my hands for this part. Sometimes the onions will be frozen, sometimes they will be kind of beat up, so I don't need to peel anything back for that onion. I'm going to get rid of some of this onion skin. All right, so this is how it grows in the ground this way. All right, see how this is where the root is in the ground. So I'm going to cut this in half. Now I'm going to do a big, everything I'm doing from now on, I want kind of the same size, okay? Like bigger than my thumbnail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at an angle. I don't like this. This doesn't feel very good to my hand, so I'm going to get rid of that first layer. Come straight down with this cut, and an angle with this cut, another angle with this cut. So now I want to try and keep it together, move it 90 degrees, cut it twice. Okay, so now we have good stir fry size. Let me get rid of this first layer again. I'm going to do this part a little faster. All right, so now our onion is done. And you can go on the YouTube channel and watch me do the onion a little slower with a little more instruction. All right, now we've got the peppers. Remember, we wash these ahead of time. Okay. So the pepper, we want to cut it at the shoulder, which is right about here. We're going to come straight down. And sometimes you get two eyes right here and a mouth, and it's smiling at you. Maybe the next time we'll have better luck. You get about one of those every 100 peppers. All right, I'm going to put this aside. Now, here's a trick. Instead of cutting it in half this way, I'm going to put it up on its side. First, actually, I'm going to cut straight down here. These onions are strong. I'm going to move those away. Wow, my eyes are watering. Okay. I'm going to bring my blade right in here, and I'm going to cut this membrane out in one shot. Now, the white part of this pepper is called the membrane, and when people complain that the membrane the pepper gives me hiccups, most of the time it's because they're eating that membrane. Okay. We get rid of all these little seeds. So now we've got three parts. We got the bottom, the top, and the sides. And we're doing a stir fry, right? So we want everything to be kind of big. Let's do a large dice, okay? Keeping my fingers back, doing the 90-degree angle. Okay, so for this part, yes, this is round. It's not perfect. That's okay. We're just going to dice it like this. And now for this piece, we're going to cut those in half. Okay. We got our red pepper done. Get it off our board. All right, now we've got a green bell. I'm going to do this one a little quicker. After lots of practice, you'll be able to do this pretty easily. Just keep your fingers back. You can also take both of these peppers, lay them up on each other. And then we have the bottom and the top. Switch it at 90 degrees. All right, there's our pepper. Now, the next thing I chose to pick was zucchini and yellow squash. So I cut the ends off each one. Now, this is kind of large to deal with, so I'm going to cut this in half. These are pretty thick. If you have a narrower one, you may just want to cut it this way now. I'm going to cut mine in half here and mine in half here. Now, as I'm getting close to being finished with the vegetables, I'm just going to stay with that. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to do half of these. You could also, if you're more secure, you have a large base, you can stand it up this way and come straight down. All right, so we got all our squashes done. Now I got a carrot, and I got this peeler. I'm going to pull this straight down. I'm going to be careful not to drag it across my knuckle, because it will peel your knuckle, because it doesn't know the difference. All right, so now we're going to get rid of these scraps. I'm going to just get rid of this little nub and spin it around. All right, so for this carrot, I'd probably cut it in half this way. For this part of the carrot, I do an angle. And then for this part of the carrot, because it's a little thicker, I'm going to cut that in half and do an angle. But also close to the same size as my peppers. Now I've got my mushrooms. They've already been washed just like everything else. You can do mushrooms a couple ways. We could slice them thin, but then they kind of would not be the same shape as the rest of the veggies. So I'm going to cut them like this. So I came down once. I tried to keep them together. So it's just two cuts. The stem's a little big, so I'm going to trim that back. I am going to use it. And you can hear them squeak a little bit. The produce in the grocery stores looks good right now. All right. So the next thing I've got is in our house we like asparagus, and asparagus isn't necessarily stir-fry food, but we enjoy it. I'm going to check my rice real quick. It's looking good. I'm going to turn on two pans. I'm going to turn on this nonstick pan. I'm going to turn this one on. We're going to do our chicken in here. And I'm going to turn this one on. We're going to do our vegetables in here. I've got some sesame oil. I'm going to put about half a tablespoon in each pan. So we're going to have a couple things going at once. So we're going to come back here. We're going to put our asparagus. I'm just going to do small little pieces at an angle. All right, so I've got everything cut. All right, so now I'm going to use my trusty flat spoon, wooden spoon. I didn't really like the idea of a flat one, so I tried it. I didn't like it a lot, so you don't have one of those. I'm going to test my rice. It's super good. We love the jasmine in our house. It's on rice in our house. There's not a lot of moisture left in there, so I'm going to turn it down to low. Here's the oil for the vegetables. Right, and we're going to use this for the chicken, and we're going to have them both going at the same time, so it's going to get loud. I'm going to talk a little bigger. And we'll just let this oil get hot. When we put our chicken in, we don't want to overcrowd the pan, because if we put all the chicken that we have in here, all that's going to happen is the liquid in there is going to come to a boil, and you're going to get boiled chicken. So you want some space in there, just like in a room, a little more space than usual right now. So in here for the vegetables, the most important thing in our dish is our ginger garlic scallion. I'm just going to take a little piece, test it. Okay, got a little pop. That's great. I'm going to put my ginger, my garlic, and my scallions all in at once. And this is the key to making a good stir fry, in my opinion. We don't want to brown this, so we want to pay good attention. Now, while I have two things going at once, I want to make sure that the heat doesn't make me lose my mind trying to keep up. It smells really good. So basically that was equal parts of your chopped scallion, garlic, and ginger. Okay. Now we're going to add our peppers. All right, and we're going to let these go a little bit. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to check this oil. It looks pretty good. I'm going to take one piece of chicken and drop it in. And I'm going to drop in more, but I'm not going to throw them all in at once. We'll have to make a couple batches of this. So we want those to brown up nice. Now I'm back over here with my veggies and my peppers. I don't want this to stick to the bottom. I want to keep stirring it. If it gets too hot, I want to turn it down. I don't have a wok at home, which is okay. I like to use this pan because it's got the big sides on it. Now I'm going to add my squash. I got my onions. I'm going to put my onions in. I moved them away because they were hurting my eyes. I would have normally put my onions in after my ginger scallion garlic. If you make a little mistake like I just did, it's okay. Right? All right, so I'm going to leave this at about the same temp. I want to check on my rice again. It looks like it's there. That rice is good. And I have a lot more to do here, so I'm going to turn my rice off. I'm going to add my carrots and my mushrooms. I'm going to add my asparagus. I'm going to keep this stirring, keep it going, keep the heat on high. I'm over here and I'm going to check this chicken. I want it nice and brown. I want to make sure it's cooked all the way through. And I want to make sure to not rub my tongs into my good pan. All right? Everything's moving kind of along now. So I've got my chicken right here. I got my veggies right here. The steam's coming up. The moisture in the vegetables is evaporating. Everything's kind of incorporating the taste of the ginger and the garlic and the scallions. My rice is ready, so I've got it turned off. I do my chicken separately than my vegetables because I want my chicken to be nice and clean and kind of stand out in the pan when we serve it for dinner, okay? There's a little bit of moisture in here. If you grilled your chicken or if you put your chicken in the oven, you want to cook it up to 165 degrees to make sure that it's safe to eat. And I'm kind of jumping back and forth a lot right now. The vegetables look good. They still have all their color because we put them all in separately. I wish we had smell vision because this is lovely. All right, I'm going to test this. So I'm going to take a pretty good sized piece of chicken here and I'm going to check it. And it looks like it's done through. So you can see that the chicken is cooked through. It's white. It's not pink. So I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to fold this in to my veggies. I don't want that moisture in there, so I put them out nice and individually. Okay, so now this is when we add our sauce. Now the sauce in the recipe and ingredients was suggested that you buy one, you feel free to make one. I know that might be kind of complicated with everything right now. So this is something we love at home. This is Kona Coast Island Teriyaki, and I'm going to throw about a quarter cup in here. I am not going to let this cook and reduce because it's ready to go. I'm going to throw it in. I'm going to let it get hot, and everything's ready. I want a nice coating on everything. Does that look good? How you guys doing at home? All right? Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to turn that off. I've got my rice now. We're going to plate it up, okay? So a good sized portion of rice is about half a cup to a cup, not too much. I'm going to take my stir-fry veg and chicken and just plate it up around a little. I want some of this sauce. So we're going to finish it up like this. Now on the optional ingredients, we had a couple things for optional. Red chili flakes are really good to finish up with this, like you would for some pasta. I like my sriracha. And what else is really good on here? Some roasted peanuts. And then I'm going to finish it up with a little bit of cilantro. There you go. Dinner's ready. All right, so I'm going to check and see if we have any questions over here. Let's see here. Not many questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in right now and we'll take a peek. I got a few thank yous. You're very welcome. Happy to do this. Next week, I'm already thinking that it's street taco night. What do you think? I think that'd be a lot of fun. We'll just do a whole bunch of different toppings. So I'm Chef Paul, and you've been at Backburner, and thanks for viewing in. And if you have any comments or questions or any ideas, parents and students, go ahead and email. And thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week.